Here we go. Welcome, everybody, to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. We have a fantastic show coming up for you tonight. The Mermaid Medium. Jessica Potter is with us. Coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. I'm author and ghost historian Mike Ricksecker. With me, as always, my co-host is Victoria Monday. And down in the chat room, Quarantine Ghost, haunting the chat. We have fantastic guests coming up for you tonight. Jessica Potter, intuitive medium, is with us. I've known her, probably a couple years now, Jessica. A very interesting woman, very intuitive as well, and is known as the Mermaid Medium. So, Jessica, that's really my first question for you, because I know everybody is going to want to know why you're known as the Mermaid Medium.
It kind of just became a nickname that caught on, I guess, because my hair. So it started off as like a joke when I would go to Paracons and stuff. So many people come up like, "Hey, where's that purple, blue-haired, green-haired girl?" So then it became like the mermaid thing, and just picked up from there. I've always loved mermaids. I'm Pisces, so I'm all about water.
So it kind of fits, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, you know what? My husband like brought the idea up, and I was like, no, I don't want to change my travel name, business name. I'll just go by my name. And he was like, lame. And 2 years later, I changed it. He was like, I told you. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, so that's also cool. I know that we're going to be talking about some other things you've been getting impressions on, which is, like Giants, Atlantis, all that stuff, which is very, very cool. But as you and I have gotten to know each other here a little bit and have been chatting, we discovered that we were actually in Alaska at the same time on Elmendorf Air Force Base. And it's just one of those kind of like it's a small world type of moments, which I always find extremely fascinating when people cross paths like that. And of course, at that time, we wouldn't have known it. I was enlisted, and your father was in the Air Force as well. So we really wouldn't have. You never know. Maybe at the BX we cross paths. But I find that extremely fascinating that you were up there during that time.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I always think it's so cool because, like, I don't know, there's something different about Alaska. Not that I try and separate from other states, but it just is. It's like cool and it's unique. So even if somebody's lived up there, it's almost like, yeah, they get it. Like, we're just
Right.
so yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's like, I guess once you even visit there, you kind of have appreciation for things in a whole new way because of being around nature and all that. So it's pretty cool we have that connection.
Yeah, it really is. And you're right about the nature. The nature up there is absolutely fantastic. You have these, beautiful mountains, and the water up there, just coming down the streams is crystal clear. Salmon are huge, and all of that. But okay, so I have to ask you something, since you're a medium, you're psychic, and you spent some time up there. I last year, I filmed for the show The Alaska Triangle, and that aired earlier this year. And we're talking about the energy up in that area in Alaska. Do you recall feeling that energy up there? And if so, what did you think about it?
Yeah, it's so weird to think about, like, because we moved up there. My dad was military as well, like you said. So we moved up there when I was going into fourth grade. So I remember a few things that happened to me when I was younger, but I grew up in a Christian household. We didn't talk about those types of things. It's always my imagination, nightmares, stuff like that. As I got older, I started realizing, no, there's something more behind this. I do remember a few encounters with aliens, I guess. It was almost when I was like part sleep. Oh no, and I always make the joke I can handle ghosts, but like aliens to me is like whole nother world. Other than that, I would just get a feel for certain things and locations. But I guess when my parents' belief systems were different, mine were at the time, I didn't think to look into it that way. So I was just always like, oh, that's kind of weird. But now looking back at it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I was definitely talking to a dead person in my head there.
Right, you knew something was up looking back. Yeah. How
Yeah.
how old were you when you moved out of Alaska?
I was, oh God, 22?
22. So
Oh,
you spent a long time there. Yeah.
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 Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Met my
I was only
husband up
3 years.
Yeah, I met my husband up there, and then
Nice.
yep, he got stationed at Fort Bragg. We were stuck there for 13 years, and
Hmm.
so went with them to Fort Bragg, and here we are now.
Yeah, you're in Virginia now, right?
Yeah, we're right below DC. So
Right.
he was
oh,
up near DC area, but we wanted to have like trees and nature and all that. So
Yeah. Oh,
he,
Virginia's very nice.
yeah, love it. Weird stuff here too. It's like different than Alaska weird.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, it seems like every location has their own oddity, their own energy to it. I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
So as we were chatting during the summer, like I said, you had, were telling me about you were getting impressions on different things like giants, Atlantis, things like that. So I guess the question is, what have you been picking up on?
Oh man. I can say like this year has been unlike any other year in my mediumship. I'm kind of like what I guess I would call myself like a skeptical medium. I'm not one that dives in like super woo woo, I guess. Um, so normally for me to get abnormal messages, like normally I just have communication between people on the other side. But when I'm getting big messages about ancient beings and stuff like that, like I know something bigger is going on in the world. And that started happening before COVID and everything really kicked off. I kept getting even some Bible verses. I kept getting messages about need to prepare, need to eat right, big changes coming. I started having crazy intense dreams, seeing like these tall giant beings that is in a weird way, it was like they didn't really seem to care about humans, but they were here. It was just a lot of different things. And then messages started coming in one day when I just channeled this really intense meditation about ancient guardian beings, and they showed me them like way taller than humans were coming back to work with the land and energy, darker energies being stirred up. So basically, how I took it is like there's like a whole spiritual war going on the other side, energy wise, at the same time, like we're going through like, the physical things. I think there's whatever reason magnified. And I started getting things with like new discoveries are going to be coming after this period of where things start to settle down. They were talking about a lot of scientists are making a lot of progress during this time period. There's going to be a lot of shifting with the news. And then they talked about Atlantis. There were something about like a seabed, like the feeling I got. It's hard to always put it into words because a lot of times it goes so fast and it's like a feeling. But something about like a seabed isn't laid out exactly like they expected or thought it is, or have it's been overlooked, something like that. And as water shifts around, I do think we're going to be getting a lot more of like hurricanes the next couple of years. And as water like moves around, there's going to be something discovered along the lines of that, is what they were saying.
Yeah,
I think
that's.
you're absolutely right.
Go ahead, Victoria.
Because I'm sorry. Basically, the last 2 years, I have a lot of friends who are intuitive, and we kind of get together and like, oh my God, do you feel this energy? And and the last 2 years, we've all been saying, hey, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and
Yeah.
it's coming December 21st. So that's kind of. I've been saying that for 2 years now. But more and more people are starting to go, yeah, I've been feeling this crazy energy shift, and I totally agree. I was talking to a friend today. And she wanted to know if I was going on a cruise next year. I'm like, I am never going on a cruise during hurricane season because the storms are getting stronger. Things are changing. It's really
Yeah.
intensifying right now. And
I do think there's some tie to like one thing that they were explaining to me, and I've always felt like there's a tie to human emotions and Mother Nature somehow. There's some connection there that I think is yet to be discovered. And one of the things they were channeling in through these messages was that Mother Nature, in a way, like recharges and cleanses, like basically our gunk and our energy that we're putting out there, all the anger, all the emotions, the sadness. And if you go back thinking about layers, I mean, wars and everything that we, just been layering on top of each other, they were talking about Mother Nature comes in and kind of cleanses that energy, and it's the way it's released. So I think that's why a lot more is happening with storms and crazy weather and odd weather and, shifting.
Do you think there'll be more earthquakes, kind of shaking things up that way? Maybe
I
more,
wouldn't doubt it.
yeah, newer lands being exposed or something.
I just keep seeing things with water. And my daughter's intuitive as well. She gets dreams, my son as well. And, she had, before she even knew what a tsunami was, she's 13 now, so she understands now, but she kept telling me big water's coming, big water's coming. I said, what do you mean? She'd be like crying. And then I started getting the dreams and, I get the visions of like a city being like underwater. And I can't even make out the city. It's like, it's all happening so fast and I'm just feeling the chaos and panic. And then it'll go like a couple months. I won't get anything about it. And then I'll start get messages about it again. So, and my dad lives in Louisiana now. So this year I was like, don't play around with the hurricane. Like, and then when both of them were coming in the coast, I was like, you better have a plan.
Yeah. I'm down here when they were both heading our way. It was finals week and my teacher said, no, you still have to take your final. Like, I've got 2 hurricanes coming right at me.
Wow.
So, but yeah.
It washed out my
That's right.
internet.
Victoria had finals. She's still in 11th grade.
That's right. I'm still bitter about it. I'm waiting for prom.
Well, hopefully they'll have it in 2021.
Oh, geez, something,
In
hanging out at the
any
malt
case,
shop.
yeah, you mentioned all of the hurricanes, and we had Mark Anthony on the other week. He's right down there in Florida. He's also a psychic medium, and he's made the observation that the last several years, he's lived down there all of his life, and the last several years has been more and more and more hurricanes. So, yeah, something definitely seems to be up. We do have a question from the chat from our chat moderator, Quarantine Ghost. Why do you think there may be a resurgence here with? Because even there's a comment from NA, one of the people in the chat, about giants in Atlantis being on their mind a lot lately. So why do you think there's been this resurgence in interest in the idea of Atlantis, these taller beings, whether they're giants or some people may think they're the Watchers or what have you? Why do you think there is this resurgence with these things lately?
Wow, that's a great question. Me personally, from what I've gathered with the messages, I feel like what's happening is human beings need to change the path they're on. We're on this path of destruction. Like, he's drinking from that water bottle that's going to get... No, I'm just kidding.
It's going to kill me.
Go, Mike.
There's a lot...
I'll switch to this one instead. That'll save me.
So then you just toss the other one.
Right.
No, I just think there's a lot that we're not paying attention to history in some areas. We're not learning from history. Certain patterns are starting to get repeated. And we're just becoming more destructive in a lot of ways with looking at things so short term and like wanting immediate responses. And, with throwing out trash and littering and all that, we're not worried about like what our great grandkids, because we know we're not going to be around to deal with it. So a lot of people are just, who cares, and I think it's like a lot of that piled up, as well as tensions and all the things that have started to come up over the last few years. And then they explain to me a lot where like parts of the Bible were coming into it, was like making a lot more sense. I understood it in a different way than I ever had growing up. But they were explaining that basically with like all the wars and all the traumas and all the things that have gone on in the world and those layers being built up, it's never fully been cleansed. And it's getting to the point where, they can cleanse it a little bit at a time, but it's getting to the point where it's starting to affect us physically. More and more people are dealing with more anxiety, depression, more children being born with ADD and autism and stuff like that, where we're hypersensitive to these things, that they're physically affecting us. And so I feel like with, sorry, it's kind of a long answer. I feel all these layers like coming together, they're trying to reset us, like take us back to like, here's, more of what life is about. And this is what, learn more about history that I guess was never uncovered, or either the truths behind things. There's a lot about the truths being revealed, and a lot of the lies and manipulation being pulled away.
Do you think we're having toxins build up in our bodies that way, that we need
I think
cleansing, or is
so.
it like energies that we're
Yeah, it's almost
building
like
up
if
energy?
you were sitting in a room with a bunch of people in a bad mood and you were in a happy mood, it would start like soaking into you, and then before you know it, you're sitting there right there with them, irritated and stuff. I think that
Mhm.
it's something like that going on that is definitely like not working well with our body, because it's it's just going to be too much.
Right.
Yeah. Question for you. So you're talking a lot about history, which absolutely fascinates me. History is a big thing with me, but so there's a lot of ideas out there about hidden history, lost civilizations, that there have been prior civilizations long before us that built themselves up, and we don't know what happened. Maybe it was a cataclysm, what have you, and they were wiped out, or maybe they wiped themselves out and then civilization built back up. Are you able to, I guess, for lack of a better term, tap into some of those ancient cultures and maybe get messages about things that happened in the extreme distance past like that?
I've actually never tried, but that's really interesting. I did live in Germany for a short bit, and I picked up on a lot of things there that were different, but it's actually one thing I've never gone and done. It normally, if I'm around a location, I'll kind of have certain things soak in and be like, oh, they thought it was, like this, but it was really like this. But yeah, that's pretty fascinating to think about, because there is a lot that, like you said, was civilizations like being wiped off, and they don't really know what happened. It's almost like it just came to a dead stop. I can't think of the place, but I know exactly what you're talking about, like where it was like everything was just left as is.
Mm-hmm.
I think even
Well,
with some areas over near the Vikings, there's like mysteries like that where they don't understand what happened. So
yeah, well, some of the things you were getting impressions on, like the Giants, Atlantis, a lot of those type of topics kind of tie back into those ancient lost civilizations that we believe had previously existed. And the trick is always trying to prove that they did exist, but there's some fascinating theories out there about what may have been in the distant past. So I was just curious as to if, since you're getting the impressions with Giants, Atlantis, and other things like that, if you'd gotten some of these other possible impressions as well.
I think that's part of like our lesson here on Earth too, in a weird ways. Like we're supposed to dig deeper and do better than we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a whole spiritual side, energetic side that most people nowadays overlook. Everyone is very fast paced and they get very materialistic and put a lot of focus on that rather than like the internal work. And I think that's where a lot of people are struggling, is because, so many people are taught to hold in stuff and then you'll eventually get over it. So I do think there's a lot behind that they're trying to lead us back to, but it's almost like, I don't know, like we're going to have to discover it ourselves. Like we're going to have to work for it. It won't be appreciated, I guess, if they were to just, give us all answers. So I do think there's some connection there where they're trying to lead us back to picking up the things that I guess human beings have dropped along the way.
Yeah, and it seems like we've dropped a lot of things along the way. Like many of those ancient structures, we don't even know how to build today, and or we're only getting the technology now to be able to put those things together. So, yeah, it's certainly fascinating. So I hope you do get more impressions on that if you've started to tune into some of this stuff.
Yeah, well, now I will, because I have ADD, so I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go here and look in this.
There you go.
I'm gonna come to you with a journal pack full. Like, I got all this crap.
Hey, that'd be great. Yeah, I'd be all for that.
Are the Giants part of Atlantis, or?
I have no idea. Like, so I'll tell you what happened with it. And like I said, I don't normally get the so far out there stuff. Like even with lower, darker beings, it's very rare for me to run into them. I can feel them, and I'm more kind of cut off any communication, which I'm sure you get as well. Like you get a difference. my sister has always seen the lower level things and picked up on, where I've more had, she said that like it's like we're on a train and her view is like hell and I got like all the pretty stuff. So she hates her mediumship. But for me, I feel like totally kind of lost my train of thought.
Oh, that's fine. So mediumship then runs in your family. If you're saying your sister also is a
Yeah.
medium.
Oh God. Yeah. She can't stand it. Like the sun will be going down. You can't even talk about ghosts, anything scary, nothing. She's like, for real, I'll leave. Like, yeah.
No, that's kind of interesting considering you came from such a conservative background, but that's I I guess that just runs in families sometimes. Regardless of whether you said you came from a Christian background, so regardless of whether that was the background, if it runs in the family, it runs in the family.
Plus, her daughter's intuitive.
I know it comes from both sides of the family. Now, my dad's very private. He's very yeah, he just doesn't talk about those types of things. So I found out through my mom that he's a helicopter pilot, and I found out through him that he would have dreams before they would crash or something was going to go wrong with the helicopter. And so he would know. And there was one time where their engine cut out like mid-air, and they did like, I think they fell like 100 and something feet.
Oh.
And his whole crew talks about like how my dad was so calm, it was creepy. They're all panicking, and like he's like, it's gonna be okay, because they showed him in the dream. Now I found out about that like years later, after like coming out of the closet, like tell my parents, hey, I'm a medium, like surprise. My mom, her mom had it and would pick up on certain things with my grandfather when he was at war, back when it was like snail mail and stuff like that. But again, it's not something they talk about, so it's pretty interesting. It's like, I wish they would talk about it, so it's pretty different.
It's funny sometimes how families just they won't talk about certain things. Just like my mother's side of the family doesn't talk about the old country. Why? But that's the way it is. So I know Victoria was interested in all of your stones before the show. So go ahead, Victoria.
No, I love gemstones. Okay, disclaimer. Should I tell you? This is a good story. I'll tell you. Okay. I have friends who do Reiki. I know it works, but I don't believe in Reiki, but I know it works. And I've hurt my back like a year ago. So I'm at the point where I'll just do anything. So I taped some selenite to my back this week.
Oh,
it
wow.
worked.
Wow.
My back pain's almost a year I've been fighting this. But I don't believe in crystal healing, but it works. So it's, it's like honest politician. I don't believe in them, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere,
Yeah, or like how people feel about mediums.
Well, they're wrong.
Yeah.
Mediums are right. They're cool. So, I mean, how did you get started in gemstones? Because we were comparing tanzanite rings and such.
All right.
It's pretty much COVID. I don't know, like I said, it's just been a really weird year, and I never, like, I would be kind of like what you were. I've had Reiki done, and I know Reiki works. I've definitely, you got to find somebody who's like good and really knows what they're doing. But I've never really been one that's like super big on crystals, and I slowly just kind of fell into it through a friend I know that is a ghost hunter and stuff. She started selling a couple, and I was like, oh, that's pretty. I don't know what it is, but I like it. And then with this year, normally I can get out and go travel and do events. I think the last event I actually went to was like when me and Mike were speakers at the Unity one. So it was almost like I was getting restless. Like I teach a lot online, and I work a lot online with people and do readings, but it's like, I don't know, I kind of need something, how it is, you got to turn off your mind sometimes from the mediumship or like have something else. So yeah, it became my new hobby, and now like I'm selling them and learning about them.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing once you start finding out, well, this one goes with this one and this one, don't put these two together. And, oh, this one will melt if it gets wet.
Okay,
so,
see, I'm not even that far. Like,
Oh,
I can't
well,
even
okay.
pronounce the names right.
They're pretty. They're just pretty.
Yeah, I'll be like, here's something green.
Well, it looks
That'll
like you have
help
quite
heal
a
ya.
collection behind you on the
Yeah.
shelf.
Yeah, it's my mermaid shelf. Like, well, I can't get my big, but I have. I got like, and I'm all into the aura stuff. Some people are like, oh, the aura ones, they're ruining the crystal and all that. But I'm like, it's pretty. I'm gonna buy it. So I got all the shiny aura stuff. My little mermaid up there. A few of these down here. Like my favorite, a lot of amethyst, labradorite. Oh my gosh, that's
Oh, yeah.
this one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's like totally my new addiction. I'm like, gotta find like more flashy pieces.
Yeah. I had a friend who is bipolar. And so I made him a hematite and a lepidolite, I think it is. Oh, that may not be the right stone.
Uh-oh,
But it has
your friend.
he's already messed up. No, anyway, it didn't work. But basically it had lithium in it. It's a trace metals of lithium. Like, here, wear this, sweetie.
Wow.
Yikes.
So it helped calm him down a little bit. But,
And then it was too much.
yeah. Then we broke up, so it didn't matter anymore.
He started getting sick and stuff. He was always laying in the corner.
No. No. Calm down, Yeah. But anyway.
So, Victoria, actually, a question for you. I think this is directed toward you about the selenite
God, is he
wand.
watching?
Right, but it's from Sarah Yusuf.
Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, if you have the evidence that it works, why wouldn't you believe it?
Same reason I don't believe in religion.
But even though it worked, wouldn't you be like, oh, yeah, hey, that works?
Yeah, I don't believe it. But,
It's just ironic? Is it just irony?
it's too much in faith, I think, because I'm more scientific.
Well, I think there's something to be said,
Yeah.
though, for some of the properties within those stones. I mean, you do end up, with a
If you
a
wanna
lot of
start
stones that
talking-
have like quartz elements and things like that in it. That we
Yeah.
use that in our everyday electronics. So there are certain properties within some of the stones.
That's why I think the selenite worked, because that's used in resistors and transistors, and what the heck, it might be shooting energy through my back that I actually needed for healing.
There you go. So that's quasi scientific, right?
Oh, they are. I actually love that poster where it's like the soldier. It's like, oh, I've been shot, I've been injured, and somebody's like, here, hold this amethyst till the pain goes away. Like, I thought that was so funny. My husband's like, but you believe in crystals, and I'm like, yeah, but it's a little bit different. Like with crystals, I feel like they, just like you said, they're used for like computers, things like that. Yeah. I think they help hold a certain energy that vibrates well with our body or works well with our body, and everybody's body is different, but some people touch a crystal and be like shocked or have some really intense experience. I've never personally had that.
That's happened to me once when I dislocated my shoulder and ripped up
but you
everything.
don't believe, so it doesn't
No,
count.
I don't. And I didn't tell the girl. She was here, put this on there, and I actually saw the little zick to my shoulder. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to tell her that happened, but hey, it works.
You're like, you set this up.
It's rigged.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but it works. If it works, it works. So.
So you just don't know, like it works, but like.
I think it requires more faith than I can give it right now. I'm slowly getting there. Yeah, like all my rings I wear. I mean, they all have different properties, and I'm not sure if they're working or not, but they're like, I wear a morganite ring to help open up my chakra to be more loving and nice to people. I don't know if that's working or not. I have my days, but
I don't think the lithium guy thinks so.
we don't talk anymore. So
that could be.
He's out there, So who knows? I mean, it does work because our cat. It's not my cat. First of all, not my cat.
Yeah, not her cat.
Not my cat. He was hit by a car, and so just the other night I took the selenite off my back, and we were petting him. Aww. And he jumped, and you could tell he got shocked by it. So I don't know. Maybe it's going to fix him.
Wow.
Hope so.
We could hope. Yeah.
That's sad. Like, what a
Yeah.
tribute.
He's had a hard life.
Ah.
Yeah. He's
So,
getting there.
Jessica, your website, just to let everybody know, is starloveclarity.com. Of course, you're a intuitive medium. What type of services do you offer? Like, what do you specialize in?
And also, I got the Mermaid Medium.
Oh, do you? You have the Mermaid
Somebody
Medium.
has Mermaid Medium. I'm waiting for them to give up that domain, and I'm going to take it too. So I'm the Mermaid Medium to make
Okay.
it easy. Star Love Clarity is like a it's like one of those names I just threw out there and never expected to go as far as I did. So it's pretty funny, but I do all sorts of stuff. So I travel and do gallery readings. I travel and do Paracons because I still love ghost hunting. And yeah, I'm all about the paranormal and understanding this more and trying to wrap my head around it more. And I think it makes your mediumship better too when you're into the paranormal and like being at haunted locations and taking in that experience. So travel and do that. And I teach online and work with a lot of people in different ways online with opening their abilities and understanding their abilities, overcoming certain things, and developing their mediumship or their psychic gifts.
Oh, very good. Very good. Now, you've said before that one of the things that you're looking to do is try to bring some understanding to the paranormal through your mediumship. So, um, so when you're at a haunted location or at a or undertaking a paranormal investigation, is there anything different that you do in that type of situation than, say, if you're just giving a reading for somebody?
I guess it would depend on the place and depend on the history. I don't like to know anything about the history when I'm doing a walkthrough, whether it's somebody's house, whether it's a historic location, a ghost hunt with friends. I don't want to know anything about the history. I want to go in there with no ideas, have nothing in my mind to just see what comes to me because a lot of times things get twisted in history, things get written down wrong because the rumor was more entertaining than the truth, or there's things that were covered up because of shame or, they no longer accepted, things like that. So when I go into a location, I like to just be basically a wide open book. I don't walk in trying to provoke anything or bring anything on. I just kind of see what soaks into me or what connects me first. And then with a reading, I'm more, one, focusing on washing out like any of my energy and then going into talking to either their loved ones on the other side or so it's a totally different process. I'm more focused on keeping my energy directly with them because I think most mediums are pretty all over the place. And I think there's something behind that too with the way that they can get their messages. So it takes a lot of focus for mediumship. A lot of people don't realize that. So yeah, that's kind of like the difference I do. But as far as working with the paranormal, I have a lot of passion around it. Like I'm a very goofy, laid back person, but when it comes to paranormal and mediumship, like that is something I take seriously because it means a lot to me. And I wish it were more understood. I think nowadays so much of the focus, especially with TV shows, maybe gets put on like the darker aspects or something gets built up into something that is not even close to the truth, and that part, it's like I kind of feel in a weird way like responsibility to show that there are good mediums out there. Not that I'm trying to prove anything to anybody, but I want people to have faith. There are good people out there that want to help and want to do good work and that are really talking to your loved ones.
I have a lot of friends who do investigating also, and it seems like maybe over the last 6 or 8 months, definitely this year, they're all changing. They're not into the shock and scare and the, can you light the K2 meter up? There seem to be more trying to, like you said, get in touch and have some sort of validation that, yes, I really am talking to someone, but there does seem to be a shift. So maybe it's getting away from that TV stardom type.
I hope so. Like, that's one of the hardest things for me is watching. It's like, really, like there's, I know so many good mediums, and not all of them want to be on TV, right. So I understand it. A lot of people do take this work like very seriously, so they don't want anything that could tie them into anything Hollywood eyes. But I feel like with this, like you gotta be open to it, and you gotta be respectful.
Right.
Like, yeah, don't
be responsible.
So many people twist things, and that's me. Like I just try and say exactly what I'm getting in as I'm getting in. I might miscommunicate something. I might be off on a detail, and I'm human, so I have an ego where my ego's like, let's put together the story. So I might try and jump, but I feel like some of the best mediums are sometimes newer mediums because they don't know what they're doing, and they just say it without, trying to get the whole thing.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Question here from the chat room from Sarah Youssef. Jessica, what do you think of shadow people?
Oh, man. Seen more this last year than I ever have.
Interesting.
It's annoying. Like even last night, like in case you guys hadn't noticed, I'm a little bit of a space cadet, but more so today than usual. Last night I couldn't really sleep, so I was like running around cleaning, but I mean, like out of the corner of my eye, I could see one, and it would be so bad I would go in my office and like have to close the door, like, dude, just quit. Like it's like you're over there trying to get attention. So shadow people, there are a lot of times where I've encountered spirits that are not darker, they're not evil, they're not, there's not anything bad about them, but when they're seen, they look like a shadow, and they're assumed that it's dark, that it's evil, that it's, because it is startling. Any human's going to get startled by something when you're caught off guard. So I understand why a lot of people jump to that, but I do feel like there's all sorts of beings that we don't even understand fully or know about. I do feel that there are shadow people that there's something with energy, same as like light and dark. I do think there's something with shadow people and them having to remain in the dark and being tied to that energy, if that makes sense. I kind of feel like I'm rambling, but
no. In fact, it's it's a topic that fascinates me because that's something that I write about and what have you. So at least to me, I think depending on the shadow person, there could be a lot of different things, whether, it's a human spirit or an interdimensional being, or maybe even sometimes an extraterrestrial. And I don't know if you have that same opinion, but, do you get, when you're having some sort of interaction with a shadow person, do you get from time to time different energies depending on which shadow person it might be?
Yes. Yeah. I guess that was, you explained it a lot better.
Okay.
Then I could, that's pretty much.
That's what you were going toward.
Yeah, sometimes it, just like you said, it can be a wide variety of things. And a lot of times when I've been in communication, I more feel things, and then I start getting the emotions behind the physical pain and stuff. And I will pick up on the physical pain the human had before they passed. Not that they're still in that pain, but it's, for some reason, it connects me that way. So when I start picking up on that and start communicating with somebody, sometimes seeing them or seeing something around them trying to show themselves to me will be like the last step. So there's times where I will openly be talking with a loving spirit that's just wanting to tell, their son they really love them and miss them and this and this and this. But then they'll start to appear and it looks like, if you were to see, you think it was something dark. I think there's something behind energy. Sometimes they got to pull together, and it doesn't, they're not meaning to come across dark and scary, but it can, because they don't have a physical body anymore. But I do think that there's there's all different beings that can come in all different ways. The same thing, I think they're working with something without a physical body.
Okay, I have a question for both of you since
Uh-oh.
y'all like shadow people. Oh, let's go to the phones. Do you think there's an increase in shadow people? Because I've been seeing more and more like over the last year, or
yeah, that's more of the weird messages that I got.
Okay.
So my ex-boyfriend passed away. That's actually
sorry.
how I got on this path before. That's how I like basically got nailed in my head, like, you are a medium, this is what's going on, because I thought I was going crazy after he passed away. And so he'll kind of rat energy out when it's in my house or it's near me that I'm oblivious to.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first experiences I had before coronavirus kicked off was I was sitting down to meditate and stuff, and he just appeared to me and pointed to my closet, and I was like, okay, like appeared in my mind, not
right.
And I went and opened my closet door, and this darker being came out and just kept growing taller, taller, taller. And I had my window open, and I just pointed to the window. I didn't even respond to it. I was just like, yeah, okay, like, get out here. And it did. Like, it's like, this one's boring. Couldn't scare her. But I was sitting there like, hey, I hardly ever see lower level beings or beings that are trying to scare me. And I was like, how do you get my house? Like, I got my crystal I go through all and my protection, and I was like, that's unusual. Well, when I asked about it in meditation, they explained to me that a lot of what's going on with this cleaning up the energy period and us being basically in lockdown, having a lot to do with them moving around and getting rid of some of the lower energy. Like, if you think about like the demonic beings and stuff like that hang out near graveyards, or, shadow people are the lower level energy. So with us being in our homes and not, moving all over the place, they were able to see that energy more to kind of help pull it off the earth, or, whatever doing. That was kind of how they explained it to me. So they showed me a lot of those beings are like moving around, almost like trying to find new places to hide, or, anything where they can just find a new area that they can live in. So when they explained that to me, I was just like, okay, because I was seeing as many angels. I see angels as like flashes of light. Sometimes like somebody took a picture, and other times it's like orbs and stuff. Right. I started seeing as many angels as I was those. So I'm like,
like, they're everywhere.
Yeah, like I really feel like I'm losing my mind. So, it was pretty interesting when they explained that to me. I was like, okay, so I've just kind of been dealing with it. Like, when are we gonna be done with this?
December 21st.
I hope
December
so.
21st.
Yeah. Yes. 2 a.m.
So we have a interesting question out of the chat room. This is another thing that I chalk up sometimes to shadow people. Jackie Campbell asks, can a shadow person be a time traveler?
I don't see why not.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a possibility, sure.
I think there's so much to the other side that like we can't even comprehend if we tried to. And I think we won't know till we're dead. And even then we still might not fully know. We might have to learn how things work. But I mean, kind of makes sense. If it's doesn't have a physical body, it doesn't live in the normal, with time like we do, the living. Yeah, I could see.
Yeah, you mentioned something very interesting, that even after we pass away, we may not have all the answers. And that seems to be the case a lot of times when we interact with somebody from the other side, that, yeah, they don't know all the answers, or they might still be learning, or maybe a question that we're trying to ask them about how it all works, we just don't ever get an answer from them about that. Now, since you're very in tune with the other side, and you do readings and what have you, do you find that to be the case a lot?
Yeah, it could be really frustrating to me, because I'm one of those people that like I won't leave something alone. Like, I just got to have the answer, and then it's almost like once I understand that, then I can move on to the next thing. So I think that's why I love what I do so much, because you you never fully figure it out. You know, it's frustrating, but at the same time, like, you love it because it's like it never gets boring.
Right, because there's always something else you can move on to.
Yeah.
It's like having 12 tabs open on your
Or
computer.
yeah, exactly.
I usually have like 60 tabs open, but yeah.
I can only have
Yeah.
12.
It's like my mind earlier when I went blank is like I closed one tab and was like, wait a minute, oh, I still needed that.
I'm buffering right now, so
Yeah, I think that there's sometimes I get where the spirit just doesn't want to talk about that. Like, they want to talk about what's important to them, and that might be because they only have a short amount of time they can hold that energy, or, you know, for there's so many things. And then there's other times where it's just like they won't discuss it. And another thing that I found odd that kind of caught me off guard is sometimes people carry their religious beliefs to the other side and they still feel that way. I've had people come to gallery readings of mine that their parent, like this one guy, his mom was extremely religious, and like a woman should dress proper, straight back, all that. And he was asking to connect with her, and she said, I won't talk to you. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I don't like your hair. I don't respect you. And I had to like tell him that. And I was like, you know, I'm like, come on. But she wouldn't budge. And it like blew me away. I was like, that's kind of weird. But I don't know. There's still like so much that, like I said, it's frustrating, but it's amazing at the same time. It's like, how come we can't just like, you can't just tell us, oh, this works like this, da 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 da. You know, they'll teach me certain things in dreams, but it's almost like they only go so far, and then the rest is like a journey you have to like figure out or have to figure out.
Have you ever connected with a spirit or someone on the other side who was just absolutely so excited that they finally found someone that could understand them or hear them?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And I'm not one to approach people in public, so that's when it gets really hard. When I'm in public, I mean, like going to Walmart or anything like that, where there's a lot of people around, it's like I have a short amount of time before I got to get out of there, because
Oh yeah.
it's not that like I'm focusing on my mediumship, because I'm going about like doing my list and my to-do list, but it's like when I start picking up on energy, it starts overwhelming me, because some of them will be like that. Like,
it is.
Go up and talk to him, go up and talk to him, go up and talk to him. And there's one person in my life that I finally said, okay, and it was my my best friend. She lived in an apartment building, and across from her was a police officer, and it was his wife coming through.
Oh.
Just passed away. And she kept saying, he believes in the paranormal. He believes. And I'm like, I can't do it. Like, and this went on like weeks, her waking me up and everything. And finally, like, he was coming home from a 12-hour shift, getting his rifle out of the car. And I'm like, he is going to think I'm on some serious drugs. But I just went for it. And now we're like good friends. She was right. He was open to the paranormal. She told me about what type of toothpaste he uses, like all these little details I would never known and stuff. So, you know, I got lucky that time, but normally I don't like approaching people and doing that. But it's hard because I can feel their excitement. I can feel where they're dying to get through, but I look at it from the living point of view. You don't know that person's belief system. You don't know how long it's been since the death has happened, how they process death. If they want to talk about it, some people don't want to talk about it at all, or they might be going about their day not wanting to think about it. So that's how I feel. I don't feel that there's anything wrong with mediums that do approach people and do that. Just for me, that's how I feel.
Question.
Sense,
yeah, it does. It does. Question here out of the chat room. This kind of goes back to the shadow person conversation that we were having. But Hans Leavik, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. Do you think horror icons like Freddy Krueger could be inspired by the Hat Man? Both terrorize people in dreams, and sometimes the Hat Man has long nails. So do you think there might be some inspiration drawn from there?
Possibly. I mean, I've never heard of the Hat Man, or I don't know, maybe I'm the wrong medium to ask about this.
That's fine.
It's rare for me to encounter like shadow people and all that. Maybe because most stuff that gets people doesn't. It's me. I don't know. But I mean, That makes sense if it's something. So is this like a phenomena that a lot of people have
Yeah,
experienced?
Hatman's one of the more notorious type of shadow people. And most people believe that he's some type of energy vampire, comes into your room in the middle of the night, terrorizes you, feeds off of that energy. So I can see where he's going with the question.
Yeah, then I absolutely think if it's something that numerous people have encountered, yeah, I'm pretty sure that would have a lot to do with the storyline.
You know what? A friend of mine told me one time, I used to do ghost tours out here. And then when my tour was over, they go, "Oh, come on, we're going to do an investigation." So when I would go to the investigation, nothing would happen. I'm like, man, it was really active until you got here. What
Because you
happened?
don't believe in crystals and energy.
Well, that's part of it. No. Okay. I broke the ghost. Jeez. But so I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, I don't see the dark, negative demons very rarely, every now and then. And he goes, "Well, don't you get it? When you show up, it's like turning the light on. So when you have the light come on, the darkness is all gone, so you don't see it. So maybe it's you're living in a certain vibration. Maybe there's a mermaid vibration, or living through your heart chakra or something, and that
Yeah.
prevents you from seeing the negative and the lower, the darkness."
Yeah, I don't, I mean, me and my sister have always tried to figure it out. Like she's had some crazy dark experience. The only difference is I never partook in any seances, that slumber parties or anything like that. And my sister did when she was younger. So that's the only difference that we could think of, is like because she had that experience and what happened in that experience, and fear was started there, that maybe they had a string to pull at or something. But
Could be.
that was another mystery that we've never figured out why it was like that.
Well, and this is a interesting conversation to have and dig into here a little bit because some people see more apparitions than shadows. I'm a person that sees more shadows than apparitions, but I don't think you would ever call me like a darker person or have a more negative vibration. I do believe people have their own personal vibration. They vibrate at different levels, have their own personal resonance. So I think that plays into it. But again, I don't think all shadow people are dark and evil and all that either. So
Yeah.
I think it's something that we need to keep researching and investigating and trying to figure out how that personal vibration plays into what it exactly it is you see and observe.
Yeah, I feel like if more people would, like I said, I get the startle factor. That's human nature,
Sure.
like even if you're not one to jump easily, sometimes when something catches you like real strong off guard and you know what you saw without a doubt. I think if people would push past that a little bit and like maybe sit in the energy, they would get a feel, because that's how I know when a lower level being is around. I'll start getting a massive headache. I'll start getting like really intense sharp pains. And I do work missing person cases a lot, so I get a feel for different types of death. But this is like different. It's a little bit hard to explain. It's almost like you get that fight or flight response. And so even if they're trying to come across as something sweet or not, you'll like have that feeling there. But I feel like if people encountered, shadow people and sat with it for a little bit, it could just be like Uncle Bob popping in, you know. It could have just been talking, Uncle Bob, I miss you, man. And then like, but a lot of people, they get that little startle thing and then they just build it and build it and build it,
Yeah.
And Uncle
Well, and
Bob,
that's something I always say too. I'll usually say something like, it might be somebody's Aunt Jane or their grandmother or what have you. Yeah, and it very well could be.
yeah.
So another question out of the chat room here before we wrap it up. We got about 5 or 6 minutes left here. So this was from Robert Hanna. What are your thoughts on things like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or Yeti?
I I feel like there's a lot of possibilities out there with that too. Now, some people feel like Bigfoot's a spiritual being, and like at one point he was living almost like dinosaurs, and other people feel like he's still very much alive. I think there's good possibility for either one of those. I would lean more towards still alive. Um, but I do think that there's a whole lot more out there. Definitely in the ocean. Oh God, I think
Oh,
the
yeah.
ocean is like, you know, full of stuff we've never even come close to seeing. But I think it's real. Now, me personally, I'm like Bigfoot's not my thing. If you took me to the woods to look for Bigfoot, I know I'd be bored. But I mean, I think that they're like, what are the chances that you'd run into Bigfoot? Like most of the people that do, it's like they're always by themselves or something. So,
Yeah,
but
I think it's one of those. I don't go what they call squatching. I mean, I believe that there are things out there and the possibility of Bigfoot. Sure, I think it's a possibility that there may be small pockets of um, creatures out there that we just don't ever discover, whether they keep themselves well hidden. Jessica, I don't know if you heard of in Alaska that there are people who believe that there still are some woolly mammoths way out there in the wilderness of Alaska, and it's like, well, if there's only a few of them left, that very well could be. I mean, it's massive up there. Um, so I think it's
I think that
that
could even be a
possible.
possibility too.
Yeah.
I mean, but now with how popular Alaska's getting, I think slim. But I don't know. It's cool to think about.
Yeah, it is. And if you're out on a hike, keep an extra eye out, I guess, for it. But it's not something that I'm just going to go run out to the woods. Yes, I'm off.
Yeah,
Because you usually don't find anything. So I think it's kind of a
there's actually a
nice
really
walk.
great video some guy in Alaska did get in a Yeti suit this last Christmas that oh my gosh, it was pretty funny. And it was in Alaska. Like he's at the ski slope and everything and
Hmm,
it's pretty funny like to watch people.
that is funny. From Donna Liska, I believe this is again on Shadow People. Uh, can they show themselves telepathically or through your mind?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I've had times like we talk about vibration and like energy level. When I'm in a bad mood or sad or down, like I will catch them. Sometimes they'll try, like the house we lived in for this one definitely had a poltergeist type thing. It would be a normal house, and then out of nowhere, it would be stuff getting thrown, stuff getting moved. It was really, really different than anywhere I've ever lived. And I would notice that anytime I had anger, depression, sadness, whatever, I would start getting more dark
Hmm.
thoughts that I could tell it was trying to like imprint scary stuff or like to trigger me or lead me to a breakdown. I don't know what its end goal was, but I would have to pay attention to that because I'm like, okay, which most of the time I do. And maybe that's why I don't get too many of the darker experiences because I'm just like, whatever. Or some people be like, oh my God, because they know mediumship is real.
Right, right. Well, we're down to the last couple minutes of the show here, Jessica. I really do appreciate you coming on tonight and discussing with us a variety of different topics. But where can everybody find you, get a hold of you, maybe get a reading for you, or you have all kinds of different things on your website as well. So
Yeah, can't you tell I have ADD? I'm like, I'm going to do a little bit of this and this and this. So my name's Jessica Potter, Intuitive Medium on Facebook. You can like me and follow me there. I have my website at the Mermaid Medium or starloveclarity.com. And you can connect with me there, read all about me, my projects, what I have going on. Right now during COVID, I'm more just at home hanging out, but as soon as it's done, I'll be out traveling. And I mean, you're going to the UK too. I think your tour is like,
yeah, in Ireland, yeah.
yeah, you'll be in Ireland and we'll be in the UK. We're doing stage Paracon. So like
Oh,
we'll be over there at the same time. But yeah, so I might be traveling to a place near you and keep an eye out on my events.
that would be pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of events this year are pretty hard to come by, but hopefully next year will be quite different. I'm sure our paths will cross somewhere, so
Yeah,
that'd be
definitely.
great.
Yeah.
We'll meet you at
Thank
the
you.
stone circle. Yeah.
There you go, the
Oh,
Drumbeck
yeah.
Stone Circle. That'd be great.
How's that? Yeah.
Yep. All right, Jessica. Well, thank you very much again. Appreciate it, and everybody go check out our website, starloveclarity.com, and also you can find her on Facebook. So,
Thank you.
Take care. You have a great night.
It's nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Jessica Potter, the Mermaid Medium.
She's so sweet.
She is. She's really nice. She's really
Yeah.
nice. And she has that, like, she
She's
said
light.
she said that she was very tired tonight, which you could tell, because usually, she's very, very, bubbly and outgoing and all that. So, yeah, she's really nice. So, I hope you guys meet her someday. All right. So let everybody know here. I already broke the bad news to Victoria earlier. So sorry.
I just need a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'm good.
You sure? Okay. There's no Beyond the Shadows tonight. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we've had one. But, it snowed like 14 inches here today, and it's still going. So I've spent like a couple hours here shoveling today, and I'm just beat and exhausted. And so, if you couldn't tell, I was also a bit tired throughout this show this evening.
I shoveled so much sunlight today.
Yes, you shoveled sunlight. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah.
No snow. It's
So-
cold here, though.
Yeah, you're like down to 28 degrees, but no snow.
Yeah. No snow.
We're actually a little warmer than you. We've been like around 30, 31 all day. It's just been
Bikini weather.
ton- yeah, just a ton of snow. And it was pouring rain all day yesterday. So I could not imagine if it was a couple degrees colder yesterday and we would have had like 2 straight days of heavy snow. That would be
Y'all have like the polar bear clubs and stuff up there?
the polar bear
where
clubs.
People, I don't know if it's like New Year's Day or whatever, and they run and jump into lakes.
Oh yeah, the polar
Those kind of things.
polar dive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do those out here on the lake. Yeah.
Yee.
I don't do that.
Come on,
Not
Mike.
at all. No. You'll never, you will not get me to do that. But you won't be completely without Beyond the Shadows this week. What I'm going to do tomorrow, when I'm a little more rested and all that, of course, there's going to be more shoveling to do tomorrow. But in any case, I am going to record a Beyond the Shadows podcast, which will be available on Thursday morning. You should have that podcast available to you. So be on the lookout for that. You're just not getting a live stream of it today, so I do apologize for that.
Do you suggest one that we could watch tonight in lieu of? What's your favorite one?
My favorite
your
Beyond the
favorite
Shadows?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good question. So not enough people watched last week's on the, or I guess it would have been the week
You didn't do
before.
one last week.
Yeah, the week before on the American Ancient Sites of Power. So,
I like that one.
Yeah, that had a lot
was
of.
good.
Thank you. I thought I had a lot of great information. But let's see, what do we have? We had fun with the presidential ghost stories and hauntings.
Think old school. Go back.
Yeah, old school. Go back. Time travel in the ancients. We've done a lot of that type of stuff. I'm
have any
scrolling
Christmas
back. I'm scrolling back through. Oh, any Christmas ones? So
Yeah, like
that would have been okay.
Krampus.
Yeah, so it probably would have been
pushing
on
Krampus.
the Haunted Road Media YouTube channel where we used to run the Edge of the Rabbit Hole show.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some Christmas videos out there. I'm going to be posting those here very soon. That go into like some different ghost stories around Christmas and stuff like that. So there's actually some Charles Dickens hauntings and what are
He was
we-
good.
Yeah,
He had a lot.
Mhm.
You know, we
yeah,
do,
but I'm not even talking about like the fictional stuff that he wrote. I'm talking about like
Yeah, his ghost
real
stories.
hauntings. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I do remember.
So
this.
there
down
was-
here in Galveston. They canceled it this year, but we do Dickens on the Strand, where the whole
Oh,
Strand dresses up like Dickens and ghosty
Very
stuff
cool.
like it. Yeah,
yeah, ghosty stuff. There's
Yeah.
a lot of ghosty stuff down there in Galveston.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Dash.
Sorry, sidetrack.
No, does Dash Beardsley still do the tours on there? Okay, cool. Yeah, he's a fun guy. I like Dash.
But he's no fun guy. Okay.
He's no punk guy.
He's
Yeah,
a
the
fun
first
guy.
time I met Dash was it was at a conference in Jefferson, Texas, and he comes out. He's got the
yes.
he's got the music blaring. He's got the smoke and the lights, and it's like, wow, this guy's rocking out. He was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Jefferson, that's on my bucket list.
Oh, yeah, that's a great historic place. All kinds of hauntings there. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely. In any
Anyway,
case,
back to you.
we need to get to the shout outs and everything. So,
You still didn't say what
Sarah,
your favorite one was. What can we?
they're all my favorites. Good. Go. There's a playlist, Beyond the Shadows Archive.
I watched
Have
it.
at it. You've watched it.
I did.
Okay.
Took
Cool.
me a
I
year.
appreciate it.
It took a long time. I watched them. Okay.
There we go. All right. So Sarah Yusuf is asking, what is the December schedule? Okay. So next week, we have Johnny Enoch, and the week following we have Rob Guttrow, and then we're breaking for the holidays, and we'll be back after that. I'm going to find the day. We'll be back January 12th, and our first guest of the year would be Nicole Guillaume from Guiding Echoes.
Oh, good.
So,
what am I going to do in all this time?
yeah, I know. There's like 3 weeks off there because those last shows leading up to Christmas, they never do well, and then even the one directly after New Year never does well. So it's just like if people aren't even just tuning in, because I get it, it's the holidays, people are busy, you got a lot of things going on with family. Even I know people are saying stay inside, COVID, all that. People aren't. Okay, let's just be real about it. Go figure that. Hey, I'll be honest. We had a turkey funeral last week.
I told some people at work that, and they're like, "What?"
Well, because you can get like 25 people together for a funeral, but only like 10 for a family gathering. It's like, okay, we're having a turkey funeral. So,
Was
sorry.
it cremated? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Turkey wasn't burned.
We
or
did
anything.
though. We did actually, give our condolences. We said a few words
Aw.
over the turkey. Yeah, we had a funeral for the turkey.
That's nice.
So,
Aw, poor turkey. Okay.
So yeah, to answer Sarah's question, so next week, the week after, we break and we come back January 12th. So, all right,
With Nicole.
with Nicole. Yep, that'll be in studio, obviously. So, all right. So let's get to the shout outs deep down the rabbit hole. Patreon patrons: Tom McNicholas, Andrew Cox, Justin Slamario, David Isley, and Joe Chandler. Thank you all for being deep down the rabbit hole Patreon patrons this evening. So. There's another question here. Okay. So QG is saying that there's some questions on the chat for you, Victoria. What astrology channels does Victoria recommend? People in the chat are asking about December 21st in astrology.
Oh my God, where can I start? Molly McCord, everybody's talking about it now. Molly McCord just released another 2021 multi-series on what's going to be coming up in 2021. But, and I even put it on my Facebook, the show we did back in September or something.
Okay.
Did it come true? The predictions, for the election and everything? It did. But everything is leading up, starting with yesterday. Yesterday was like, you're taking the tube off the toothpaste, the cap off the toothpaste. And it's all starting to gush forward now. And the 21st, again, this is amazing. Saturn and Jupiter, I think, are at 0 degrees of Aquarius, which is the actual start of the Aquarian age. So if you have to have a pinpoint of when it starts, it's December 21st, which is also the equinox.
It is. Yes. So what I got out of that is I need to buy more.
Yes.
Okay.
When it thaws,
Right.
you can go out.
Yeah. No.
But also, if you remember astrology, my ascendant is at 0 degrees of Aquarius, so I'm all excited.
Ah, right.
The
the astrology episode was really interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of that stuff that I've been tracking actually really did happen with the nasty election and nobody giving up. And
Yeah. It has been nasty. So,
but it's going to get better. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Molly McCord. Find Molly McCord on YouTube.
Find Molly McCord. There you go. There's the recommendation. All right. So deconstructing fear, but did you eat the turkey prior to the funeral, right? After the funeral. We said the words over the turkey first. We gave our condolences. We brought gifts for the family and all that stuff. We did all that stuff first, and then we ate the turkey.
Oh, you had the cranberry sides?
Yeah.
for the offering. Yeah.
Mhm.
Deconstructing Fear is one of my Twitter friends. So
Oh, okay, cool.
He's really smart, really nice guy.
Very cool. Pleasure.
Rob.
Oh, it's Rob. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah. I know Rob because he retweets some of my stuff and everything. So always appreciate it.
Yes, he's awesome.
Yeah. Robert Hanna, Mike, you gotta get Giorgio from Ancient Aliens on the show. That would be pretty cool. That would be a fun conversation. Ooh. I like
and
Giorgio.
Talk about
his marketing is Hollow Earth. We could bring somebody on and talk
about
that
down.
Yeah. It's
one of my favorite.
Why is everybody in on Hollow Earth lately? I find that interesting because the original like illustrations of a Hollow Earth were basically like a set of parentheses with all like this stuff inside and outside, and they had like the sun in the middle and all that.
Yeah, with the Nazis and the aliens, they're all flying.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Now, I believe there are some very deep places of the Earth because you think of the we know of like the lava tubes and stuff like that so I think there's deep places in the Earth where lava had once been and now it's just a massive cavern. So hollow in that sense, I suppose, but I don't think like the entire middle of the Earth is empty. So
I'm still sticking with my, what was I telling Mark? My centrifuge of magnet stuff or whatever.
Right. Yeah, they think they think it's molten iron.
Yeah.
But I guess, we haven't drilled down that far, so we don't really know.
Or have we? Maybe we have, and they're just blaming it on. And they're just blaming it on fracking. See? Mm-hmm.
We'll just get those Romulan drillers from the first Star Trek movie of the new Star Trek movies. They had that drill that would go to the center of the Earth, and we'll get them to find out for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm good with that.
All right. Cool.
Is Chris Pine coming? Okay. Sorry.
All right. We need to get to the shout outs, everybody. So to the participants tab, we've got Adam Tillery's in the house. Don't tell me what happens on Oak Island because I'll watch it later. Betty Lange and Kathy Salento. Deconstructing Fear, Donna Liska. Thank you all very much for joining us this evening. There's Helen Espinoza and Jackie Campbell. Robert Hanna, thank you once again. There's Sarah Youssef. Thank you for all the questions. Stanton's Journeys. It's Christopher Stanton. Thank you as well. And the Haglin. Great to see you. I know there are more people in here. Tim Schoen. Where's Tim Schoen? I know he was in here earlier. So
I didn't even see him on Facebook today.
Yeah, he shared it out on Facebook. So Haunted Road Roast. It helps you out ghosts. So that's
was that today?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he shared it out today.
It's been a long day.
All right. So let me scroll up here to see who else. Of course, I need to thank Quarantine Ghosts for haunting the chat and taking care of everything down there in the chat and for feeding me the questions. And by the way, because I guess it did become an issue the other week, and I'm not sure of every single little detail of what happened, but I guess at some point along the way, I should have made mention that one of the things that I did task Quarantine Ghost with when he took over the chat was to keep it clean. So there was like a lot of bashing of television shows. It would get nasty down there in the chat, and then like a lot of the political stuff was going on. So it was like, make sure that stays cleaned up. So like, I guess I didn't say to you guys, hey, here are some new rules. No political stuff going on. Bashing the television shows. I know we've kind of done that before in the past, but we're beyond all this. That was years ago. So, that's a long time ago. A lot of people, that join us in the chat and watch this show do enjoy watching the paranormal shows. I do occasionally watch them from time to time, and so everybody has their own opinions and all that of if they like a show or if they don't like a show or what that. But we don't need to get nasty about it down there in the chat. So I just say no bashing the shows. That's it. Because hey, by the way, I've been on a few now, so
You've been on a few shows?
Yeah. So no bashing the shows, please.
I don't watch TV. I'm just kidding.
At least not in the chat. If you guys want to have like a little side discussion and private message each other and all that, have at it. But this is a public forum here, so.
And we're moving into the Aquarian age, so we're supposed to,
right. So there's Joy. Good to see you down there in the chat, Joy. And let's see, who else did I miss? There's Tammy Heitzman. Great to see you, Tammy. And yeah, Hans. Good to see you down there, Hans. And Ren Oak was in the house. It's been a little while, Ren. Great to see you. And N.A., thanks for joining us as well. And I think I did get Joe, right? I got Joe. Jennifer Bloomer, great to see you. EEQQ is in the house. See, all these are the participants tab miss. Man, participants tab did a bad job today. All right. Well, I think that is going to be it. All right, everybody. You guys have a great evening. Again, no Beyond the Shadows tonight because I'm just wiped out from shoveling snow for hours. But I will get you an audio Beyond the Shadows for later this week. It'll be out Thursday morning. And, of course, you can also listen to us on KGRA Radio later on this week as well. So Friday night, Edge of the Rabbit Hole is on there. And then Saturday night, Beyond the Shadows is on there. Midnight each night. So
Midnight Eastern?
Midnight Eastern, yes. I should clarify that. Midnight Eastern, yeah. All right, everybody. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving and you all enjoy the holiday season. 2 more weeks and then we break, and we'll come back and have a magnificent 2021. So, all right. We'll see you next week with Johnny Enoch.
Bye.
Have a great night, everybody.